Welcome back to Chatwin Reactions. Today we're going to be checking out some more baseball. I really enjoyed watching the home run video we did. I posted that about 4 or 5 days ago, and I'll say in the last 12 hours that's gained about 4,000 views, which is crazy. And so many of their comments were telling me to check out pitches, rules. It confused me at first when I was seeing you ask me to check out pitches. I thought you meant kind of stadiums. So I saved a video in my playlist of stadiums, and then I realised that's what you call throwing the ball, pitches, which didn't stick in my head. So that's just a bit of extra knowledge for me today. So we're going to be checking out how to identify baseball pitches. I'm really looking forward to this one. While I'm putting my headphones on, if you could go down below and hit that subscribe button, and of course let me know down below anything else I should be checking about baseball or any other sport. Let's go.
Identifying pitches.
Hey, if you've ever watched a Major League Baseball game, you probably know how difficult...
I do want to say as well, thank you to all the information you guys have been providing me in the comments on the last video as well. I've learned quite a bit more about this game. I'm still a complete novice and a rookie, but I have a little bit more knowledge.
It can be to identify the different types of pitches that pitchers throw. So I put this video together to help you identify the pitches that you might be seeing in a Major League Baseball game. In general, the three things that you're looking at are, number one, the velocity of each pitch, number two, the movement of each pitch, and number three, and this is kind of a bonus, the pitch arsenal of each individual pitcher. If you go to Baseball Savant, you can look up the various pitches that each pitcher throws. For example,
this is something I was told about as well in the comments, that baseball is very heavy statistic, I can't even say the word, based. And if I like kind of stats and things like that, I'd be into it. And I'm going to be honest, it's not really something I'm that into. But I kind of did have a quick little look, and there's so much information. It kind of blew me away at first. But I think it's something we'll definitely delve into a little bit. But
a curveball, a four-seam fastball, and a changeup.
This is definitely
that narrows
a
it
sport I'm
down for you
ease
pretty
myself
nicely.
into because
all right, let's get started.
Fastballs.
The fastball is the basic pitch of Major League Baseball, and it's the type of pitch that you're going to see the most. There are three basic categories of fastballs, and most Major League pitchers use one of these types of fastballs as their primary pitch.
Four-seam fastball.
The four-seam fastball is the most common pitch in Major League Baseball.
So I did ask in the last video, and I'm not going to pause it too many times, but is the number when it was coming up 80, 94, is that meaning miles per hour? Like 88 plus for a fastball? Like,
easiest to
that's
identify
faster than I drive
because
my
from
car.
The angle of most TV
really
broadcasts, a four-seam fastball
70,
appears to travel in a straight line with no vertical drop whatsoever.
But still, it's
this straight and level movement is a result of the high amount of backspin placed on the ball. If you see a pitch that's traveling this straight at 90 plus miles an hour, you're probably looking at a four-seam fastball. Some four-seam fastballs
catching it behind as well, because not only he's got an easier time than kind of the batter, but the fact he's able to catch it every time
actually appear to travel upwards as they approach the plate, and this is called a rising fastball.
Really fucking impressive.
Despite the way it looks on TV, this upward movement is just an illusion.
Sinker or two.
It's upward movement. This is called a rising fastball. Despite the way it looks on TV, this upward movement is just an illusion.
I did think it was going
Sinker
up.
or two-seam fastball.
Okay.
The two-seam fastball, or sinker, has movement as it approaches the plate. This movement is usually downward and or towards the pitcher's arm side. So
I could be very wrong
glove.
as well.
If you see a pitch at fastball velocity that drops or appears to run or twist towards the pitcher's arm side, that drops or appears to run or twist towards the pitcher's arm side, you're probably looking at a two-seam fastball. The terminology can get a little bit confusing at first because people call this same type of pitch by two different names. The most common practice is to call it a two-seamer if it arrives up in the zone.
I could just watch a compilation of just someone throwing that ball for hours. So is it literal seam, as in four seam, you're kind of holding it with four fingers on the seams maybe, or two seam because you're holding it with two? Is it that literal?
Without much downward movement. Reserving the term sinker for a two-seamer that drops or that arrives low in the zone. But it's also fairly common to use these terms interchangeably or to just use one term. For example, StatCast will call this pitch a sinker every time, even if it arrives up in the zone.
Cutter.
The cutter is the least common fastball in Major League Baseball. By definition, the cutter is characterized by late and sharp movement towards the pitcher's glove side, so the opposite direction of a sinker. In practice, however, a cutter can also drop or break hard towards the glove side like a slider. The unpredictability of the cutter can make it one of the hardest pitches to identify outright. And in fact, it's not unheard of for Major League broadcast crews to disagree about whether a pitcher has just thrown a cutter or another type of pitch, most commonly a slider.
It looks like a slider, actually.
I think the best way to learn this game is to like watch highlights of games or watch a full game, because like I'm getting it, but it is also kind of going like it is so much.
Just a crisp, hard slider, a little break to it. Cutter, they're calling it.
The good news is that pitchers who throw a good cutter at the major league level tend to use this pitch quite a bit. So knowing that a pitcher throws a cutter is your first step in identifying what that pitcher's cutter looks like.
You can't even see it move though. It's just so fast.
Breaking balls.
Breaking balls are pitches thrown with significant top or side spin that causes the ball to change direction as it approaches the plate. This change in direction is called break. There are two basic directions as it approaches the plate. This change in direction is called break. There are two basic types of breaking balls.
Curveball.
The curveball is generally the slower of the two breaking balls. The archetypal 12 to 6 curveball gets its name from the fact that it breaks downwards, as if it's traveling from 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock. But a curveball can also travel towards the pitcher's glove side.
I feel like that's got to be one.
And then bottom out.
Like when you saw it go up, I did promise I wasn't going to pause it so many times tonight, but it is what it is. Going up and down, I feel like that's like one that
ball is almost always the slowest pitch that a pitcher throws. So if you're looking at a pitch that's traveling anywhere from 60 to 80 miles an hour with a looping or a dropping motion, it's probably a curveball.
Slider.
A slider is a breaking ball that breaks diagonally towards the pitcher's glove hand side. Sliders are generally thrown faster and with a tighter break than curveballs. As you watch these sliders, you might be noticing that some of them are bearing a resemblance to curveballs, and others are bearing a resemblance to cutters. This is a good time to say that these pitches all more or less exist on a continuum. And people sometimes use terms like slurve to describe pitches that don't quite fit into one of these categories. In any case, if you're talking about a slider or a slurve or a curveball, you're talking about a breaking ball. And the good news is, if you just call one of these pitches a breaking ball, you're never going to be wrong.
Like, I don't know what the position is called. Obviously in cricket, the guy behind the wicket is the wicket keeper. So I don't know what the position behind the... Do you call them the batsman? I can't remember, but... It's so... I'm just being... I'll be honest, I'm watching him more than the ball.
Technically refers to any pitch that's not a
fastball.
In practice, the term off-speed pitch is usually reserved for pitches that mimic fastballs, but that come in at a lower velocity. There are two types of off-speed pitches that you will commonly see.
Changeup.
A changeup is a pitch that's disguised to look like a fastball, but arrives about 8 to 15 miles an hour slower. To my eye, most changeups look like sinkers, but again, they arrive 8 to 15 miles an hour slower than that pitcher's fastball. Let's take a look at a couple examples. Here is John Means throwing a fastball at 95, and then here is the changeup. When we slow this down, we see this is just a standard four-seam fastball, 95, and the changeup looks like it could be a sinker, but arrives 11 miles an hour slower than the fastball. Here's Lucas Giolito, fastball 96, and then the changeup arrives at 85. When we slow this down, we see it's a standard four-seamer again. And then with the changeup, same delivery comes in looking like it could be a fastball, but it arrives at 85. The changeup is designed to be deceptive, and even professional...
So question then, if you're the pitcher, do you have a time limit of when you can throw it? Because I feel like one of the plays you could do is kind of just stand there for a little bit and then throw an absolute fucking rocket, and the batsman is going to have no idea that you've kind of just thrown it because you're throwing it that fast, but they're not expecting it. Or is there like a 10, 20 second countdown so you know within the next 10 seconds I'm going to be swinging? Like, I feel like that makes it a little bit more fair, but you know,
broadcasters can get it wrong.
One fastball taken low.
It catch you off guard.
Two fastballs.
I think that was a change.
Think it was a change?
Yep. 89 miles an hour.
Yeah, he throws harder than that.
This is a pitch that becomes much easier to identify once you start paying attention to the pitch velocities that are displayed on screen.
Splitter.
The splitter
God,
is
so
an
many.
off-speed pitch that is thrown like the fastball, but that has a significant and late downward break. This diving movement is a result of the low spin rate placed on splitters.
So the guy behind, is he on the pitcher's team? Because he's kind of just tapped the ground to be like, go low, I guess.
This diving
Am I right?
movement is a result of the low spin rate placed on splitters, which pitchers achieve by using a split finger grip that gives this pitch its name. It's easy to see a splitter and at first think that it might be another type of pitch that has some significant downward movement, like a curveball or a sinker. But once you start paying attention to the velocity of each pitch, you should be able to pick out the splitters. Here is Shohei Ohtani throwing a curveball at 79 and a splitter at 88. When we slow these down, we can see that the curveball has kind of a tumbling action to it, whereas the splitter comes in looking like it might be a fastball and then just drops. The splitter is ultimately not a very common pitch, so knowing that a pitcher
I'm not
has a
going to sit here
splitter
and
in
lie and pretend. Like, I'll be honest, I see no difference in, other than the way the ball is moving in the air. Is that what he's meaning? Like, I don't see anything else other than a kind of movement. I mean, my favourite one is the one that kind of curves towards the end. Was that the cutter so far? But
Arsenal
it's so
is a good
impressive.
first step in identifying that pitcher's splitter.
But the
Less
fact you're
common
doing this
pitches.
day after day,
The
your arms must
fastballs,
get
breaking balls, and
wrecked.
off-speed pitches
Like,
that
you
we've
can't do
seen
this
so
for
far
years.
constitute the vast majority of pitches that you'll see when watching Major League Baseball. There are a few other types of pitches that you might see, and we'll go through them pretty quickly.
Ephus.
An ephus pitch is an incredibly slow and high-arcing breaking ball, if you want to call it that.
I like that.
Forkball.
I like that one a lot. I'm not going to lie.
Ephus.
An ephus pitch is an incredibly slow and high-arcing breaking ball, if you want to call it that.
That's just taking the piss.
Forkball.
The forkball is like an extreme splitter, and these will often land in the dirt or touching home plate.
Screwball.
A screwball is a breaking ball that breaks like a mirror image of a slider, so towards the pitcher's arm side. It's been years since one has been thrown at the major league level.
Is that because that's
Knuckleball.
easy to hit?
And finally, there's the knuckleball, which is an unpredictable and floaty pitch that's thrown with almost
We have
no
a
spin
knuckleball
whatsoever.
in soccer or football.
So that covers pretty much every pitch you're going to see when you watch Major League Baseball. If you know that you're going to be watching a baseball game and you want to get better at identifying pitches, the best thing you can do is go to Baseball Savant and search for the starting pitchers for that game. See what they pitch so that you are prepared and you know what's coming. Beyond that, just keep
That's
paying
probably a
attention
good
to how the
idea.
pitches move and the velocity of the pitches that you see on TV, and it won't be long before you are identifying pitches pretty well. Real quick before we wrap up, it should be made clear that each example that was shown in this video is a well-executed example of each pitch type. And in order to show the full movement of each pitch type, I only included videos where the batter did not make contact with the ball. In reality, not every pitch that you see in a Major League Baseball game is going to be this pretty or is going to conform this well to the definition of each pitch type. Breaking balls might not break. This is called a hanging breaking ball, and they happen all the time. Hanging breaking balls are usually hit for power, so you don't want them. Pitchers will misfire on their fastball.
Oh.
And pitchers are always
hit
changing
the
up
back?
with them. Pitchers will misfire on their fastball. And pitchers are always changing up the velocity, movement, and location of their pitches in order to keep batters guessing. So even the same type of pitch from the same pitcher can and will look different from pitch to pitch. So give yourself some time, and if you want to identify pitches by just seeing them on TV, I'm pretty sure you'll be able to get there within a couple weeks if you just keep at it. Feel free to come back to this video anytime you want for reference.
I don't know.
Unless it's a submariner style pitcher, and
What on earth was that?
anytime you want for reference. Unless it's a submariner
God
style
damn.
pitcher, in which case you're on your own.
Identify.
We learn a little bit. We learn obviously 2-seam, 4-seam, cutter. Shit, I'm not going to pretend I can remember many more, but it's something that you're going to have to get used to quite quickly. I'm not a fan of cricket. We just know cricket because it's the kind of bowling sport we would have here. But I think I'm going to enjoy baseball a lot more than I'd watch a cricket game. So we're definitely checking out more. We're going to check out some rule videos as well. And of course, I need to find a team. I still need to find a team. So of course, let me know down in the comments your favourite team. I've been told the Pirates is kind of the most like West Ham. So maybe I might go towards the Pirates. I don't know. But of course, let me know down in the comments your favourite team, your favourite players. And we'll be checking them out as well. Hope you all have a great day. Peace.